Hello, my name is Brianna Skurotovich. I will be doing my TED Talk presentation on LeBron James. I have a PowerPoint right here to go off of, and I will put that in my link too. But I'm going to be going off of this. It's just hard to do it with recording. So, my TED Talk today is on LeBron James. So, in the beginning, James is a very well-known basketball player in the NBA. Coming straight out of high school, LeBron was drafted into the NBA as the first overall pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers. LeBron was born a leader of determination. He has overcome difficult tasks to become a great leader and has always strived to be the best. His confidence was starting to build up after switching teams, and he accepted more challenges to do something great. Connecting leadership skills. So the video that I chose from the discussion assignment was the connective leadership for a new era. When Jeanne was talking, she mostly talked about recent features that have to do with a leader, and she stated that conditions of leadership that we all face in today's rapidly changing world, leaders face very complicated problems, and they get more complicated each day. So I chose this quote because I felt like it really related to my paper about LeBron James's leadership and how he used his leadership skills to relate to the everyday world changes. So this video helped me relate because I mentioned in my paper how consistent he is with his leadership skills, and when you're consistent, it's easier to require others to be consistent. And there are also so many leaders changing their skills because there is no perfect way to be a leader. This is why LeBron is so successful with his leadership skills, because he knows what works for him and was taught to face complicated tasks. So moving on to more connections I made with my paper and other assignments that we have done, making more connections with the recent video by Jeanne. I also chose this because it reminded me of the story that we discussed in class, the story of leadership in crisis, with the epic voyage of the Endurance. So this story was from over 100 years ago. There are very similar leadership skills that are brought upon in this story that relate to leadership skills in today's society. As I mentioned in my paper, LeBron's actions relate to this story because Ernest, the main character that was a leader in the story, was an ultimate leader in crisis because of his empathy and emotional awareness of his people. LeBron's strengths are valuing hard work and loyalty, which brought them the same weaknesses, which were putting others before themselves a lot more than they should have. So a quote that I chose from this story was, "Despite rapid advancement, Shackleton developed a reputation for not faulting his rank over the original sailors." So this comes back to a lot of the time he put himself before his sailors because he wanted to put himself in their position in choosing whether would he be okay in doing what they were doing or being okay with what they were eating or sleeping. So he really wanted to make a true connection with his people. Along with LeBron James, he has very similar connections with his teammates. He's making sure he's pushing them and being that their very best to be, because his one mindset goal is to have a championship. So a TED Talk that I chose from the discussion that was not related to my paper was The Power of Fellowship. I chose this because in the beginning they talk about how leaders are followers, and from the research that I gathered about LeBron, he seemed to be the opposite of that, and the people followed him into his footsteps. He didn't follow into any others ways. He was his own person, and he made his own leadership, and he stuck with it. He wanted people to follow into his footsteps so that they can be just as successful as he can. This TED Talk helped me understand the importance of followers and the leaders that made me question, can our leaders encourage us every day to make sure followers are leading when they need to? Moving on to more of LeBron James's leadership roles. The main part of my essay that I wrote about LeBron was that he has great leadership roles. His primary one for himself was not giving up on himself or others. When things were not going well, he proactively responded and made changes. Leaders use self-discipline to sharpen their willpower, to command respect from others, and to lead by example, and decision-making skills, along with gaining profit, to look beyond hard work, and to achieve their goals regardless of the feeling. LeBron's discipline comes from his self-care, strategy as in taking his team to the championship, and his priorities for his family. LeBron's self-care for himself is very important. LeBron has a very unique leadership style when it comes to basketball. His two leadership styles that are humility and patience. LeBron's leadership approach is also shown both on and off the basketball court, presenting his true self. LeBron has the best strategy for the game, therefore, this is why he is named the greatest basketball player of all times. Thank you.